You know when you're watching one of the latest Marvel movies and there's a really serious scene that's meant to evoke strong emotions, and then a character cracks a joke, immediately whipping the tone from stoic to irreverent? Well, this is a literary device known as bathos. The proper definition is an abrupt turn from the serious and poetic to the regular and silly. It's become very common among modern movie scripts within the past decade, especially with Marvel and even Star Wars. But why is a literary device even an issue at all? Welcome to Film Review. Now let's explore the problem of bathos. Inherently, bathos really isn't a bad thing at all, and can be used to great effect, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which are first and foremost comedies. But the way it's been used in modern films led me to narrow down three main problems. Think back, if you will, to the scene from Star Wars The Last Jedi when Rey finally tracks down Luke Skywalker, and the music swells as she offers him his old lightsaber, expecting him to take it with confidence and join her in her quest. And he throws it over his shoulder and walks away. It's no wonder so many people had major issues with this scene involving one of the most beloved characters in modern fiction. Rian Johnson took what was a powerful and emotional gesture and made it into a silly joke. Plus, it made Luke seem like a complete jerk. All gravitas was lost in an instant. This would be like if Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back says to Luke, "No, I am your father. I also might be your second cousin, I'm not sure." It would add in humor that's completely unwarranted for the type of story the movie is trying to tell. Or imagine if Roy Batty was giving his brilliant Tears in the Rain speech at the end of Blade Runner, and the camera pans back to Deckard, who is asleep and snoring. This wouldn't mesh at all with the tone of the film. It would be incredibly jarring for the audience. There is a time for humor and levity in films, but undercutting serious scenes with a dumb joke isn't clever. It's just lazy. It was interesting when I saw Robert Eggers' film The Northman in theaters. It was completely blown away by it, only to read reviews saying it was like watching a Monty Python skit. I was dumbfounded that anyone would come away from that experience thinking it was funny. Although it has a couple brief moments of levity, The Northman is probably one of the most serious and intense movies I've ever seen. But when I thought about it more, I realized that the saturation of bathos in modern media has trained audiences into expecting it in absolutely everything. So, when someone who watches Marvel movies all the time watches The Northman, which has legitimately serious scenes throughout most of the whole movie, they feel they have to laugh at it. It's what they've been trained to do by just about every other movie. They're thinking subconsciously, where's the joke? Which leads them to label the film as corny and quote-unquote self-serious. If a movie like Braveheart came out today, these audience members would probably levy the exact same complaints. But the point is that I don't think it's their fault, because bathos is effective as a literary device. The problem is that it's been so successful, starting with films like the first Iron Man movie and especially with Guardians of the Galaxy, that the big film studios have just replicated it in almost every new project. I understand that from a business perspective, but it leads to screenplays with almost the exact same beats and the same irreverent humor, taking the place of genuine, meaningful dialogue. I think the best example of this is the character of Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first Thor movie released in 2011, it was a Shakespearean tale about a cocky, selfish young man who over the course of the film learns that being a great leader means being willing to lay down your life for the good of others. There are moments of genuine humor in the movie, but it never went overboard by making Thor the butt of jokes. And Thor the Dark World, although not a great movie, still respected that character. But when it came to Thor Ragnarok, the character was changed in a dramatic way, and I would argue not for the good. Thor Ragnarok made the hero into a bumbling buffoon for the sake of laughs, and almost every serious scene in the movie is undercut with some out-of-place joke. When you take a character like Thor, who is a proud and confident hero, and make him a punching bag for goofball comedy, it destroys any respect the audience had for that character. When the writers don't take anything in their movies seriously, why should I as the audience member? It's one of the reasons I didn't even bother with watching Thor Love and Thunder, because I knew it was just going to be Bathos the movie all over again. So does this mean I hate bathos altogether? Not at all. I just expect it to be used as an ingredient rather than it being the whole dish. I wouldn't want a whole movie of bathos, just like I wouldn't want an entire plate of salt for dinner. But to end on a positive note, I do think that films are starting to pull back a little bit on all of this, thank God. There have been some incredible movies coming out lately that respect the audience's intelligence, as well as the heroes it portrays, while still being entertaining as hell. So here's hoping that the problem of bathos isn't a problem for much longer. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you later.